When I first moved to the US, it was about 15 years ago. I looked for a new job, and it was after working for Sun Microsystems for 10 years. So I was very rusty in job searching. And I remember that it was very, very difficult for me, the whole process, and applying to hundreds of jobs and getting rejection after rejection after rejection, sometimes not even getting any response. And that got me wondering if I ever find a job, if I'll ever be able to work as a manager in the US. And this fear of rejection is something that so many people carry, and a lot of women that I talk to, and a lot of women that I coach. And the fear of rejection, a lot of times, holding us back from not just doing a job search, but doing anything that scares us, that we feel that, what if I get a no? What if I will not succeed? And I think that's especially true when you're on the job market. And that's why I'm so excited for the episode today. So today I speak with Carol Hauser, and Carol knows this challenge personally. She moved countries herself, and now she's a recruiter and a career consultant, and she helps people not only land jobs, but stand out in the process. And in the episode, Carol shares why women hesitate to apply unless they are 100% qualified. And I'll tell you something about this. This is not new, but no one is 100% qualified for a job. It just doesn't exist. I know that because when I was hiring people, I always look for something that is more than realistic. And you're never, so think about it that way, you're never 100% qualified, because usually the job, requirements are much more than one person can fit. And we talk about that in the episode. We also talk about how to network authentically, even if it feels awkward. And I'll tell you something, I'm very introverted. Networking is something that always dreads me. I never feel comfortable. But when I do network, I do it authentically to me. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. We also talk about how to prepare for interviews without sounding like you're bragging. And this is a common challenge for women. And we feel like if we talk about ourselves, if we kind of showcase our achievements and what we have done, it's bragging. But it's actually not. It's just showing up as the great women we are and showing what we have done. And we also talk about negotiation. And this is another thing that we as women feel very uncomfortable, how to negotiate for salary, and not just salary, for the package that you deserve. And for those who don't know me, hi everyone, my name is Limor Bergman Gross. I'm your host. And my mission with this podcast, From a Woman to a Leader, is to help women in tech step into leadership with clarity, confidence, and influence. And if you feel stuck in your job search, if you're afraid to put yourself out there, or if you're unsure how to ask for what you're worth, then this episode is for you. So tune in, take notes, and most importantly, start applying even when it feels like a stretch, because you might surprise yourself. So are you ready? Let's dive right in. Hi, Carol. How are you?
Hi, Limor. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm pretty good. It's great having you here. And I think we're going to talk about something that is going to be super, super valuable for all women out there. And especially for those of you who are either looking for a job or considering maybe changing a job. And Carol, you're an expert. So you told me that you wanted to kind of highlight some of the common maybe differences, or maybe some things that we do as women that may not necessarily serve us very well.
Exactly.
So tell us kind of, what do you see that is different between how women approach the job search towards men?
So actually, it's not only how I see as a recruiter, but also there are many research about that. It's really, we sometimes put ourselves behind men because we feel less confident, or we don't believe in ourselves that much. So unfortunately, most of the times we don't get better jobs or better salaries because we kind of do that to ourselves. So my main goal here is to help people, other women like us, to understand and change the way they behave during the whole job process. So I would start by saying the first, let's say, different way that we put ourselves differently than men is even in the application. When we see a job in the job board, usually, so there are some studies that shows that women apply only when they are between 80 to 100%. They feel that they check 80% to 100% of the job requirements, while men apply even if they have less than 50% of the skills and requirements in the job requirements. So it's a huge gap. You agree with me, right?
I agree, and this is not the first time I hear about it and talk about it, but unfortunately, even though it's a well-known fact, it's still happening.
Exactly. So my suggestion is that we should apply even if we don't check all the boxes, and like send the application and let the hiring team decide if you have the right experience, and they will call you if they think you have even the potential. Sometimes companies, they hire for potential and not exactly experience. So why not to try, right? We miss all the shots we don't get,
I
right?
agree. I completely agree. And I think it stems from the fact that we are very much afraid of rejection. I actually talked about it pretty recently. We're afraid that because eventually, what do we have to lose, right? If you want to apply for a job and you're not sure, worst case, that can happen. Either they will ignore, like no one will get back to you, or they will send you like a polite response. Oh, thank you. We're excited, blah, blah, blah. But, they'll tell you no eventually. So that's the worst that can happen.
Exactly. And I can tell you, with everything that I researched, everything is like that. Maximum, you will receive a no as a response. So why not to try? We really need to go further and try to put ourselves more out there.
Absolutely. And I would say even more, because we know that we have this tendency to feel a little bit insecure or not comfortable. Try to think about it. Even apply if you think it's maybe a little bit of a stretch. Apply. Because I'll tell you something, every job I took, there was always something new to learn. It was always uncomfortable to start a new job. And that's just a given, right? Switching jobs is not easy. It's not something that people enjoy doing. No one does it for fun. People usually do it for a reason. Either they lost their job or they're super unhappy, like could be that from the manager, from the company, whatever. So usually there's a reason for people to do that. No one enjoys it. It's a hard process for everyone, not just women. It's hard because you're putting yourself to test all the time. You're being vulnerable. You're getting rejections. It's hard. So anyway,
100%.
take into account it's going to be a hard process. Just apply for something that maybe you feel like it's a stretch.
Exactly. And also if you feel 100% of the requirements, where will you grow, right? Because you know how to do everything, and you should think on your next step and not to continue doing the same thing you are doing at your current job or in your previous job. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you something about applications. How do you recommend to apply? Because I'll tell you something. When I looked for a job, it was many years ago, but it just didn't work. Applying on the website or on LinkedIn just didn't work. And now that everything is like automated, I don't even know if a human looks at resumes anymore. So how do you stand up out? How do you even get picked to be considered?
That's a great question. And also, I did another research for a different purpose, but it's great that you asked, because actually around 70 to 80% of the jobs are really advertised. So there are many job positions that are not even advertised. So of course you can and you should continue applying via, the let's say normal, typical way, having a CV, and apply through a website or through LinkedIn or through a referral. It can be what we see here usually is either like someone that knows someone. You cannot know everyone working in several companies, but my main point here is to network. So for you to know all the positions and to be selected to those hidden opportunities, or have these opportunities to be even considered for those hidden opportunities, is that first of all, everyone should know that you're looking for a job. If you're not comfortable to post on LinkedIn, have the badge, like open to work, or if you don't feel comfortable posting, very openly, you should at least contact people that you know and tell them, I'm looking for a job. It's this kind of job, this kind of industry, and even use them to connect you with other people that they might know. So it's really putting out there, I'm looking for a job, can you help me? And people usually love to help. Why not, right?
It's not just that they love to help, they usually get compensated for that, right? I mean, I think that almost every company has a referral fee, so referral bonus, sorry. So usually people don't have any reason why not to refer you or to connect you to someone, and they can even have an incentive to do that because they get a compensation if the person they referred will be hired.
Yeah, that you're right. There is a bonus. I see a lot of people that sometimes they don't want to refer people that they don't know, but they should feel comfortable to refer, even if they cannot vouch for that person, because everyone will go through the same process. So we will still interview them. The hiring manager will interview them. They will pass through the whole process. But even more than that, I think it's like, okay, they can earn bonus, but I feel very happy when I am able to help anyone looking for a job, even if I'm earning bonus or not, it's like,
Yeah,
I think also it's about karma, right? Because you're
yeah,
doing something good to the universe, something great will come back to you. So yes, you're totally right about the referral bonus, but also I think doing good, no matter to whom.
for sure. It's always good to give back and help other people. And about the referrals, I mean, a lot of companies they ask you if you know the person or not, so you don't even have to lie. You can say, "Hey, I just have a mutual friend and I referred him." That's it. So Don't.
Or even like they approached me on LinkedIn and that's it. Before we move forward, I want to talk also a bit about the difference between women when we are networking. So I have many women clients that are women and also clients that are men, and I can see that difference very clearly. So some women, sometimes they feel awkward to connect with people that they don't know, and especially if someone that is from the opposite gender, because they fear that they might be misunderstood, that they will feel like they are flirting with the guy. It's very, very common. So what I suggest is that first we should start with like small. So we should start with our inner circle. So people from your gym, for example, or people that you meet on your kids' school, or even your neighbors. We see them all the time and we forget to talk about work. So also we should start with them. And then once we feel more comfortable about it, then connect with people that they don't really know. And my other tip here is to find the common ground, and not just, like especially when it's someone that you don't know, that you approached on LinkedIn. Find the common ground and mention this shared interest instead of just saying, "Hi, I'm looking for a job." You'll see that the people will be much more open to help you if you show that you read a bit about their LinkedIn profile and share a bit about them, instead of just like, "Hi, I'm interested in a job that you have in your company."
For sure, I agree with you. And you can, sometimes it's harder if people are not super active. Like you can say something, oh, we have a mutual connection, or, oh, I saw that we learned at the same school, or, oh, we worked at the same company, whatever. But if someone is actually posting some content or commenting on something else, then it can become even more meaningful because you can say, hey, I really liked what you wrote about,
Exactly.
whatever. I think so. You even start a conversation with them about something that they are passionate about.
Yeah, and even on LinkedIn, you can see some people, they have like causes that they connected with. Or for example, some people like myself, I have in my about section a lot of things that people can find there and connect with me. So that's why I said like read their LinkedIn profile a bit, because there are a lot of people that write a lot of things, and post as well is a good tip.
Perfect. Definitely invest in that, because a lot of times that's the thing that can open doors for you, just the people you know or you're connected to. So I think
Yeah,
it's
and
now
as you
even more
said, stand
important.
out from the crowd. That is what I usually say to everyone who is looking for a job in such a competitive market. Networking is the best strategy you can do, for sure.
For sure. And networking can be even just going to some meetups or something that is happening either virtually or in person, whether it's an affinity group like women group, or it can be like a specific location, or it can be, I don't know, around a specific profession, like
Exactly.
the,
Industry,
the
yeah.
yeah.
So
All right.
maybe just to give some ideas to people. So you have the Meetup website, you have Eventbrite, and depending on
Yeah,
the country, you have different sites. But those are good places to start with, right?
absolutely. I'm personally what I'm doing nowadays, because I constantly look for meeting new women. So obviously, I meet a lot of women through my podcast. So you can start your podcast, and you'll meet incredible people. By the way, that's a wonderful strategy, but that's a
Perfect
strategy that
idea.
is coming with a lot of work. I will tell you that.
Yeah,
But other than meeting people like you from my podcast, I also I'm part of different communities, like virtual communities that they have Slack groups. So it's like Slack instances, and this is another incredible like way to meet people. Usually those Slacks have intros, like they have a channel about introduction, so people introduce themselves, or they have different discussions on different areas. And this is another way, especially for people who are introverted like me. A lot of times it's hard to put yourself out there, like in a real meetup. So Slack is like an easier, softer way, at least for me, to start getting to know people. And then you can reach out, in a direct message to someone and say, hey, I'm interested in you, in your background, whatever. Let's chat offline or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. I don't have any community that it's on Slack, actually. I got very curious. Like, I don't have any that are on Slack.
So I can recommend you one. It's a community for mainly for women in engineering. So I don't know if it's relatable for you, but it's called CTO, like CTO, but CTO.
Nice.
It's global. I mean, it started from California, but it's global, and they have a vibrant Slack community, which I'm grateful to be part of. So, like, yeah, I mean, and women are helping each other there. They're referring each other for jobs.
Really nice.
It's incredible. So, I mean, I'm sure, and I know that also there are some communities on Discord. I mean, there are other platforms, not just Slack.
Yeah, I was going to mention like WhatsApp, Telegram as well, Facebook even.
Yeah, I'm not so much into Facebook anymore, but I'm sure there are communities in Facebook, in LinkedIn. I mean, there are a lot of communities. So look for one that is relatable for you.
I am 100% a fan of community. So yeah, totally agree with you. Go for it. Look for women communities, right? There are so many women communities as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about the interview process?
We can talk about the interview process. Sure.
Yeah. So what do we do wrong during the interviews? What have you seen or read about like the differences?
So I usually say that it's not that we do wrong, but how we can improve, right?
Okay.
And do better. So if we talk a bit about CV, so I know that doing a good CV, it really depends on which location you are. But there's a lot of questions. One-page CV, PDF or doc. Are there robots that they do the CV screening? So what I usually say, we have to think on what we can control and not we cannot control, right? So a good CV usually is a CV that tells your story. It's not only, bullet points with what you did, where you have been, where you studied, and the courses. You don't need like to put too much information, but the most important thing is that whoever is reading your CV, even if it's a robot or a person, can understand one, who you are, two, what you bring to the company, what is your unique selling point, right? And what are you looking for? So that would be like that. The what you're looking for, I would say it's like I see that in 5% of the CVs that I see. It's crazy. Like people forget to say, I am looking to develop myself into a different career, a different path. Or, for example, if I do a lot of with immigrants. So I moved countries and I want to start my career, my new career in this new country. So tell a bit more about like what you're looking for. It's very, very important. So also instead of what were your responsibilities, what you did in your job, what were your achievements, what you're proud of. So also about that, we women, we have more difficulty saying what we were proud of. So I can give example even about like my own CV. So as a talent acquisition, Usually you can see that they're when companies are hiring for talent acquisition, they are looking for people who can provide a good candidate experience. And I had a specific situation where someone that I hired, they mentioned on Glassdoor my name. And that was like 3 years ago. I saved that link and I have it on my CV. Every time I see that they're looking for someone that is offering a good candidate experience, I add that link to Glassdoor. So they can, if they are curious, to see, like I can say whatever I want, but if I have evidence, right, on Glassdoor that I provided a good candidate experience, is great. So I usually have this link, and if the person wants to see, they can just click and see, or they can just read what I said. But I have one section that is like my main achievements, what I'm very proud of my career. So I would always suggest people to add that. What
Yeah,
they're
I
proud of.
agree. Usually, the format I like to recommend to people to do is like write a sentence or two of like if they are describing like their experience, like the role, like what was it, like in a sentence, not too much. Like what was the role? Because like sometimes the same name can be different in different companies, but then list of like how did they make this role different? Like what is the impact that they made basically in this role, and that will be very different for each person, right? Depending on your unique strength, on your passions. Like I always say that no two people do the same role exactly the same. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah. And I think a last tip about CV is don't overuse AI. Like people are using AI in a way that they just trust on AI and they say like, based on this job description, create a CV for me. It's a lie, and whoever is checking and whoever is reading the CV knows that because it's not authentic. So
I
be careful with
agree.
that.
I actually made a short training about that, of how you can use AI. And what I like to do with AI, I like to use it as my helper. And I usually tell AI to ask me specific questions about my experiences. So it is like AI is helping me write something while interviewing me. You know what I mean? So it's like they're asking me questions. Oh, so if a company, for example, is looking for a position with, I don't know, a client experience, like you work well with clients. So the AI may ask me like, oh, where have you done that? What are the experiences that you had? And that way, AI still help you, but it helps you to write something based on your own experience.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I usually tell AI, ask me questions along the way so I can share my own specific and use my authentic voice, because everyone writes differently. If you are writing very casually, you want AI to write like you and not like someone else.
Yeah. I always say that as well. For example, one of the things that I like to say always to AI is use simple words in English. English is not my mother tongue, and I am multilingual, so I use simple words. There is an advantage and a disadvantage, but it is what it is. So that is one of the things that I always say to AI: use simple words for my authentic voice. 100%.
Absolutely. You want it to sound like you. Yeah. So if you use a word in your resume that you are not gonna say usually, then it's not gonna be authentic.
Exactly. So if we want to move forward in the hiring process, there is another part that is also very, very important, is interview, right? So let's say you sent your CV, or you were referred, or you got invited for an interview. It can be a Zoom interview, it can be a face-to-face interview. But as you said in the beginning, it's a very tough way, right? You get a lot of rejections, and sometimes you question yourself even about your value. And I see a lot of people with confidence issues, and confidence is one of the key elements for you to get the job. So unfortunately, also we women, we I think we get hit more strongly than men in regards of confidence, and especially when we get a lot of rejections. So usually my suggestion is be prepared. Prepare for tough questions. Even like, can you give me an example of a project that you were proud of, or something different that you suggested, that you took initiative, or even something negative. You know, a lot of people ask negative things. Can you tell me about a mistake you did, or your weakness, right? Those are like very typical questions during interviews. So my main tip is really to prepare yourself for those questions. You don't need to think about them, how to answer them while you are on interviews. So how to prepare? There's a simple method called the STAR method, which is S for situation, T for task, A for action, and R for results. So you write down, you make STAR, and you prepare the examples, and then practice. And not only practice with yourself, but also practice with someone else. So the person can also give you feedback. It's very, very important to be prepared to tell that stories, and without being afraid of sounding a bit snobbish, because you have to sell yourself during interview, right?
I know this is a common problem, Carol, that women thinks like it's bragging about who you are, and they see it as a negative thing. It's some, I think, social conditioning for women, like we're supposed to be nice and quiet and not supposed to show off ourselves. But reality is that you have to sell yourself. It's a selling process, right? Interview is a selling process of yourself. You sell yourself to a company, so you need to sell yourself, right? You need to tell them who you are and what you can bring them. And I think, as you mentioned, I think the tip is really wonderful. Like, as much as possible, if you can prepare some common asked questions, so you are not caught off guard.
Exactly.
And during the interview, you have to think about, oh, actually, I haven't thought about it. And then it's stressful, right? And then it adds stress.
Very stressful, yeah.
Yeah. It's never 100%, but the more you can prepare, and again, can use AI for that, right? I mean,
exactly what I was going to say. Use AI.
Yeah. What you can do, even you can upload the job descriptions to AI and say, hey, based on what they say, what kind of questions they can ask me? Because a lot of times they put in the job descriptions things that are really important for them, and based on that, you can at least some of the questions you can get out of.
Yeah. Sometimes I even add the CV of my client, the job description, and the LinkedIn profile of the person who will interview them.
Ah, okay.
Get as much information, as much knowledge you can, throw to AI, and they will analyze, and they will give you ideas of what kind of question they might do. Also important, the culture of the company. So usually that part usually people forget. Go to the career website of the company and check what they write, who they are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
What is the values that they have, right? And based on that, ChatGPT will gather everything, and they will ask you good questions.
Love it. That's another great tip.
Yeah. Great to exchange those AI tips, huh?
Yeah. I mean, AI cannot replace everything, but it's definitely helpful. And I use it as a brainstorming tool, right? I mean, you can just brainstorm like, oh, what kind of questions they can ask me? What do you recommend that I will answer? You can do so many things.
So many things, I agree.
So, Carol, anything else related to interviewing?
Yes, actually.
Oh, wonderful.
Salary negotiation.
Yeah.
That is a part that we women are so afraid of doing that. And I have to say that we have to start doing differently because it's surveys, right? That we earn around 20% compared to men in the same type of job. So we do have to do more research, and don't be afraid to ask and know your value. Ask people around, to on the communities. We talked about communities, so also asking on communities. Of course, it really depends, on what kind of industry you are, what kind of product the company work with. For example, B2B, B2C, cyber, for example, they pay more than retail, for example. But know what is your number, how much your time work is worth. And don't be afraid to ask for, a sum that you think it's the right sum for you. And if they come to you with an offer that is below of what you are expecting, my suggestion is to ask if this is open for negotiation. A simple question. The answer is yes or no. So based on their answer, you're going to know if you can, for example, negotiate and ask for more salary. If they say no, also you can try to negotiate the compensation package.
Yeah.
You can ask more vacation days sometimes. You can ask for stock options. You can even negotiate the amount of working hours. If they are offering you less, okay, so instead of working this amount of hours, I can work less. What do you think? And that way you will receive a more fair package, compensation package. That is what I wanted to say about salary negotiation.
This is so important, Carol. I mean, we need to feel as women more comfortable talking about money, because we're just leaving money on the table if we're not asking for what we're worth. And companies take advantage of that. I mean, I've seen it also as a hiring manager, that it's not just for women. Like if you have someone that is asking for less, a lot of times companies take advantage of that, and they say, okay, he asked for less, then I will pay them what they asked for. Like, oh, I saved some money. And I personally never like this strategy. I prefer to pay people what they are worth, because it creates problems along the way where people realize that they are underpaid.
Exactly.
But still, you don't want to be underpaid, and negotiation is not 1 yes, no, 0 1. As you said, it's a negotiation package. Actually, you know what happened to me on my first job in the US? The thing that was the most important to me was the vacation days, more than salary. And I was like trying hard to negotiate only on the vacation days. I think it was the first time they saw someone like me that negotiated on vacation days, because most times people just asked for more money.
Yeah.
And they had unfortunately, they have a very strict policy, and I failed to get more days. And they said, okay, we'll give you more money and we'll allow you to be on like negative balance.
Wow.
Because they saw it so important to me. So I said, I'll give you a little bit more money. You'll be on a negative balance, and then if you leave us in the future, we'll just have to pay us back. And that's what happened eventually.
Interesting. Very interesting that they did some kind of exception for you.
You can say that. Like they saw how important it was for me. And I think that because I was very authentic to them, and I said, listen, I mean, And because I was like so straightforward and I said, yeah, the salary is fine. I don't have any problem with that. And probably they didn't expect it, right? They usually expect that people would try to get more money. So they saw like, I'm fair. I'm not trying to get more money. Eventually they gave me more money.
Interesting. And about vacation days. So for example, those companies that they offer unlimited PTO.
Yeah.
You know where I'm gonna get, right?
I've been there. I've
Run
been there.
from it, because you don't take any vacation days in the end, and it's even more complicated because for example, when you leave the company, if you have like a certain amount of vacation days, when you leave the company and you didn't take the vacation days, you earn more money for that. Also, some companies in the end of the year, they say like you have to take your vacation days, because you cannot carry on to the next year. So PTO, it's almost like it's very rare that you're gonna really take real good vacation days. And what I suggest to my clients is to run away from it. Like if it's a very good offer and it's only the PTO, you can consider and so on. You're not going to really say no to an offer. It's just because they offer PTO, but unlimited PTO. But I would go with a company that they offer a specific amount of days instead of, you can take whenever you feel like.
Yeah, interesting. Well, not always you can choose. I can share that at least in the US, many companies move to I don't know if they call it flexible vacation or whatever the name is. But it's definitely not unlimited. And it's actually beneficial for the company, because then they don't have to, as you said, like you don't have a balance of days, so they don't owe you anything. And if you don't use them, so you basically worked more.
Yeah.
So they have only things to gain, and usually people feel uncomfortable to take too many days off. I would say if you work for a company that have flexible time off, take time off. Don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Take time off. I've done that. And
Yep.
I just said, well, you said it's flexible. So again, I cannot exaggerate, right? But I was like, I took time off.
Yeah. First, show bring results, show that you're a good employee and so on. But I 100% agree with you. They should take advantage of it.
Wow, Carol, I feel like we can talk for hours, and it has been incredible, like so many tips. So before we end the call today, tell our audience a little bit about, obviously we know that you are specializing in recruiting. So tell the audience a little bit about what you do and how they can find you.
Sure. So as I mentioned, I am a recruiter. I'm currently working as a freelancer in recruiting. So I'm doing several projects, short projects, long projects, but working for different companies. But my main business is really to help job seekers finding a good job and standing out from the crowd. So everything we talked here is usually I talk to people one-on-one. I listen to what is their main challenge, what they tried, and I try to suggest, based on my experience as a job seeker and as a recruiter, I try to give them ideas, suggestions. Of course, review with them their CV, their LinkedIn. I help them get ready for an interview. We use a lot the STAR method, but I give the feedback that usually they don't get the feedback after an interview. I also help with salary negotiation. Everything we talked here is what I try to do with my clients, but usually it's on one-on-one.
Yeah.
I also offer lectures. That is, it's more general knowledge. But what I really am passionate about is helping people finding good jobs and not making the mistakes that I did when I was looking for a job.
That's wonderful. And Carol, it's so much needed.
I know. And I am so happy when I am able to help someone to find a good job, not, like that job that, oh, okay, I'm just going to find that job while I'm looking for because I need to pay my bills, and they find the good jobs. And it's really, really something that I'm passionate about.
Incredible. And where will our listeners find you?
So mainly on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my main social media.
Mm-hmm.
So with my name, Carol Hauser. But I also created recently an Instagram page. It's on the name of my company, Career Hause, Hause, Haus, because of my last name.
Love it.
Yeah, and there I'm doing more video content, and LinkedIn is more written content.
Perfect. I'll make sure to add both. Thank you so much, Carol. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me as well.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode with Carol. And before you go, I'd love your feedback. So any feedback that you have on today's episode, please share with me what resonated with you the most. If you enjoyed it, I want to invite you to subscribe and share this episode with other women in tech who needs a little extra support right now. And I just want to give you a sneak peek for next week's episode. So next week, I'm speaking with Ronnie Landek, and she's a leadership coach, and she helps women in mid-career to break free from burnout and rediscover what joy and success really mean on their own terms. And in the episode, she shares a powerful framework for thriving, especially when you're stuck in survival mode, whether you're a people pleaser, overwhelmed by work and family, or, just running on empty. I think this conversation will give you permission to pause and rethink what's possible for your life and leadership. So thank you so much for staying, and I'll see you next week. Bye.